Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Angel of Words podcast, where your stories are heard. I am your host, Angel of Words, and before we get started, don't forget to click on that notification bell, like, follow, share these messages. Also, don't forget to comment if you feel some type of way. Let us know what you're thinking. You could also follow us on Spotify and view us there as well. And we're available on all podcast platforms. Our podcast today is sponsored by OTW Threads, reminding you to be out of this world, and AttitudeOn10.com, your place to begin to get over your trauma and build resilience. Don't forget, for the exclusive content and merchandise, go to AOWENT.com. Now, on deck on the Angel of Words podcast, we have the director of sports and dance at the Southern Queens Park Association, Rashaad Washington. Hello, Mr. Washington. Thank you for joining us here on the Angel of Words podcast. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you. Thank you for welcoming.
Well, man, I'm glad that my network was able to get in contact with you because summer is coming up. There's a bunch of parents looking for things for their children to do. And as I was doing some research, the mental health situation amongst single mothers is a big deal because they got to be 100% at work and then 100% parents when they come home. So the camp that you work for, the Southern Queens Park Association, and that program is essential in giving these women and these parents a little breathing room. So could you talk about, first of all, your thoughts on that?
So I come in contact with a lot of families for the last 5 years I've been working within this program, and a lot of them happen to be single mothers that is working 1, 2, 3 jobs, just trying to make sure that they, take care of their family. And the program that I have and the program that I'm offering to the families and to the community is pretty much just for them, especially summertime. Summertime is not only for the children to let go and have fun, but also for the parents. So I know a lot of the parents want to just, breathe a little bit during the summertime, and half of them don't have a lot of childcare. So my program is for, those single mothers, to those, to the families in general in the community, that just gives them an opportunity to just breathe and just know that their child is safe.
Now, what are you offering now over, at this current moment? First of all, are there enrollments available?
Yes, enrollments are available.
Okay, and, perfect.
So I'm pretty much offering a sports and dance camp for kindergarten to 8th grade students. It's from July 5th to August 19th, right here at Roy Wilkins Park in Jamaica, Queens. And the sports camp consists of 4 specific sports that we're actually going to teach the children. We have softball, soccer, flag football, and basketball. So pretty much I have a sports instructor that's going to teach them those specific sports. My vision and my goal for this year is to just allow these students to find a new interest. A lot of our students and a lot of our children are just, at home, not going outside, and they really just play just one specific sport. Hopefully during the 7-week program that I do offer, they have a love and they have an interest in these sports, so they can, when they get back into school, they can, join their local clubs or join the school sports as well. On the other hand, I have a dance camp that one of my instructors is going to pretty much teach both male and female, African, hip hop, modern, ballet. These specific dance styles will then will be, of course, taught to the children. And then at the end of the 7-week program, we will have a show for the community and for the families. So pretty much those are the specific 2 camps that I'm running this year, and right here in Queens. So
super dope. What are the ages of the children that can enroll?
Yeah, so it's kindergarten to eighth grade. So pretty much in those age groups.
All right, man. That sounds fantastic. Now, is there a reason why you chose those four particular sports? Is it because, did you do research and it's the most popular sports? Like, what's the reason why those four particular sports were chosen by the, you folks over there?
So pretty much those four specific sports is something that most of the children in the community plays or just don't know about, right? There's a lot of students in my community and even where I work at in the Bronx, they play basketball. Basketball is, the hot sport, but also football it is as well. So softball and soccer is usually catered to some of the different demographic of students, the students that I deal with, that are African. They love playing soccer, some of my Hispanic students, they love playing baseball, so I like to just cater the sports for a lot of the different types of students that I teach and as well as within the community. So those four specific sports is pretty much catered to the interests of the children.
Now, where are you getting? I'm sure you have camp counselors. Where are you deriving these camp counselors from? Like, where are you picking from? Like, how do these people get hired?
So pretty much they I go on Indeed, I go and in the community, I go on Instagram, I go on Facebook, just saying that I'm looking for counselors to supervise and instruct these, different type of sports. So pretty much within the community, most of the counselors that I have is within the New York City community. I have actually two of my counselors previously traveled from the Bronx. I had children, employees that travel from Jersey. I have employees from Brooklyn, Queens. So it really, if they're here to do the job and they have a passion for teaching the kids and have a passion for just giving back to the community, I don't mind hiring them.
Okay, now, parents are going to be concerned. It's a thing, as you should be. Do you do any background checks or anything on the people that you hire?
Yes, of course. We do fingerprints. They have to get their fingerprints checked. If you're dealing with children at all, you have to make sure that your fingerprint, they go through a SCR clearance. They go through different clearances in order for us to hire them. And safety is one of the top priorities, is the top priority that I hold dear, because I understand that if I even had a child that goes to any specific childcare, I want to make sure though that the staff is trained. I want to make sure that the staff is certified. I want to make sure that the staff is not is going to be safe around my children. So when I'm hiring and looking at different candidates come through my office, I want to make sure that I can see that this specific person is going to take care of my child. So I'm always in the mindset of a parent. I'm always in the mindset of someone that cares for the youth.
What kind of certifications do you look for in the counselors?
So because most of my staff that I do hire are young, preferably around the college age and the senior of high school, is not real like certifications, but it's just most of the ones that I do hire have some type of experience in childcare. They either had they went to a camp before. They was also a camper as well, because sometimes, in order for a real counselor to understand how a summer camp works, they have to have some type of experience. I myself was a camper here, and my experience as a camper, I want to, then share that experience with the future children. So the certification, or just at least the experience that I'm looking for my staff, is just someone that is there for the children, someone who have experience with children, someone who just has the vision and the goal to just help the youth. Most of my staff are in college that's going to get their degree in teaching, so I'm allowing them to get that experience here so they can add that to their resume, add that to their resume. And then you could use this experience when you go out in the world and teach at these different schools. because I use this experience for my job as well, because I'm a teacher in the Bronx. So all the experience I learned here has definitely prepared me for the teaching world.
Do you do any work with the Summer Youth Employment Program? You
Yes.
know, because I remember I was a camp counselor back in my day. You know what I'm saying? Like coming up as a kid, that was one of my first jobs. Helping out people in these areas. I mean in these facilities and these summer camp programs. So, do you do any work with them?
Yes. The summit. So we are partnered with a couple of the agencies that do summer youth employment. So pretty much, we are one of the sites that the SYEP comes to. So on average, we get around like 50 SYEP for the camp or the programs that's within this building. And pretty much for my specific group, I have about like a good 15 to 20. And they're pretty much the junior counselors of the group. They're there to help and supervise, and they help to assist the instructors and to the counselors that I do hire. So yes, we do work with some youth employment, and I'm actually looking forward to seeing them soon.
No, man, I'm sure that's great because you get a chance to build not only work experience but life experience. How do you feel providing that for people?
I feel great about that because this is what the community needs. For a long time, I've been just within the community, walking around and just seeing what we don't have and what we can bring to the table. And I just feel that whatever position that I'm in, that I can change lives and help those people in the community to branch up and move up in the world. I don't mind doing that. And I want to have a platform in which I can provide that type of experience for the youth. And I just love doing it. And actually, I just hired 2 SYEPs that actually worked with me last year. They called me. They said, "Hey, Mr. Washington, I really enjoyed my time last year, and I would like for me to work under you." And I was like, "Oh, that's great." Based off their experience last year and based off my observation of them last year, I know that they can definitely bring something new to the table for this year. So they definitely joined me. They're definitely going to join me this year. So just to provide that experience and that the opportunity to come back and put that on your resume and say, "Hey, listen, I've been working for the sports and dance camp for now 2 years, and I learned this, I learned this, I learned this," and they could use this experience for whatever they want to do, and I'm glad to have this platform to give to future educators, to just the future of our community.
Well, everybody knows here on the Angel of Words podcast, it's pretty well known that I'm gung-ho about getting teachers paid more, getting them, better resources to deal with the current American construct that's developing, because, society always changes. And I feel like teachers haven't been given the resources or sufficient resources to keep up with the changing societal trends. So I appreciate the work that you folks do. Now all this stuff is expensive, Rashaad. It's expensive. Who's funding it, man? How you guys getting these resources? Because I know this stuff ain't cheap.
Yes, it's definitely not cheap at all. So pretty much we the agency is a nonprofit organization. So pretty much this is a paid camp. So the money that the students, the families pay us goes into the overall budget of how we, pay our staff and supply, the campers and with everything they need and going on these trips and going to everything. So pretty much on top of, the grants and the different things that we try to get from our elected officials, we also receive the funding from the parents that pay for the specific program.
Okay, so you do have earmarked dollars from public officials within the community that they send a little bit of coins
to the agency. Yes.
Nice. That's great. No, that's good to hear. And then I'm sure you get private donations, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. That's what I'm looking for because, my department.
Well, let's talk about it, man. Yeah. Give you a pitch, man, for anybody out there that's listening right now.
I'm definitely looking for donations for the sports and dance camp, because there's so much that I would love to do for the community. The specific trips that we go to, just something different that our children do not get a chance to experience. A lot of our children don't get a chance to go fishing. A lot of our children don't get a chance to go real camping, to the campgrounds and, just enjoy nature and stuff like that, and go on specific trips, because we've been in a pandemic for the past like 3 years and kind of counting now. And, a lot of our children, haven't experienced a lot, and I just want to give that to the children. Even if it wasn't a pandemic, I want to give an opportunity to our children just to make new friends, to build community, to build culture, and we're definitely looking for funding to help change that, to help provide that vision, because, without our community, we're nothing without the community that we live in.
Now, let's say I was a private funder, right?
Mhm.
And I told you, look, man, I'm thinking about giving you some bread. You know what I'm saying? Where would you allocate the funds towards? Like, what would be your game plan? So that way, when somebody's listening to it, be like, damn, this guy really is on point. So, where would you allocate the resources? Give me like the top 3 things you would do right away.
So the top 3 things that I would do with any of the money that allocated to me or to the program is pretty much one, the providing, I guess not transportation, but just transportation to go outside of the states, upstate, to specific campgrounds, and just allowing them to see something new, So I would say transportation is one. 2, supplies. I say a lot of, actually, no, I say training. A lot of the training that we spoke about before, that, that we want to make sure that our counselors are doing what they have to do is training, and that costs money, and that goes with, first aid, CPR, specific training to help our counselors deal with specific children, because there's a lot of children with different type of needs, to give them some type of workshops to give them and prepare them for summer camp. That's one of them, or the second one. The third one would be, it would definitely be, I said transportation. I said training. And I have all these notes. Let's go with. Yeah, those 2 right now. Yeah, transportation and training.
Well, you mentioned the third one before. You said with transportation, training, and I guess supplies you were talking about.
Yeah, it is supplies. Because I don't want to sound that I need it, but I do.
No, definitely. I mean, you could never have enough money, man. Come on, let's be realistic.
No, you're absolutely correct. It is supplies. I try my best not to pay it out of my pocket, but it's really supplies. We can't really run the greatest program without the supplies that the children need. And, that goes with unlimited supply of basketballs, footballs, soccer balls, anything like that.
Softballs, some things can get lost, bro. I know I hit plenty of softball on a roof or in the street, gets lost forever,
Yes, and these kids are kids, so they're definitely going to lose a couple too. So I definitely want to, supplies would be the third one. I'm looking at my supply.
And that's what I'm talking about. You mentioned that you have to come out of pocket, which I feel like should never happen, especially in a city with a lot. The city has money, man. Like, what's going on? You know what I'm saying?
Right, exactly. The city does have a lot of money, but, in the position that I'm in, I'm also learning. Yeah. I'm definitely learning the ropes. I'm learning more and more, speaking to different elected officials, just to see what we can do to supply these children with the needs that they deserve. And I'm learning, and I'm humble about it, So I've heard a lot, that the city does have money, especially a lot of these elected officials, and they don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
my goal is to, speak with these elected officials to see if we could get some of these funds.
Which is funny to me because I mean, the people that you're going to be cultivating at these camps and, giving them a sense of what it's like to work within the team structure,
Mm.
teaching them about, handling defeat and being a gracious winner, all these things, and all these kids will be there will be voters at some point,
Right.
so you figured that, you wouldn't have to do that much pandering, but yeah,
Right. Right.
I understand what you mean by, you're learning the tricks of the political trades,
Yes, and it's definitely a eye opener. I'm definitely learning, and you have to learn, because if you don't learn, you're not going to get nowhere. Sometimes you just have all these dreams and visions, but if you don't actually understand how certain things work, it's hard to actually accomplish that. So
No,
I'm
I hear
definitely
that.
on
Yeah.
the side of actually looking and speaking to these people.
Well, I mean, you're doing a great job. Right now, we're talking to Rashaad Washington, man, the director of the dance and sports over at SQPA,
But
right?
yes,
The Southern Queens Park Association. Everyone, just so you know, the Angel of Words podcast is sponsored by Out of This World Threads, reminding you to be out of this world, and attitudeon10.com, your place to start building resilience to get over your trauma. Now, Rashaad, I want to talk about the pandemic situation, right? Because
yeah.
I'm sure that running a camp, you have issues with vaccinations, masks, kids, and political ideologies coming from the parents. Like, is everyone at your camp supposed to be vaccinated? Like, what's the camp stance on that situation?
So the camp stance is pretty much this: you have to, in order for you to work here at SQPA, you have to be vaccinated um, fully. You have to be vaccinated. As far as our children, that is up to the parents. We cannot force anything onto the parents and to the families. So for those who are vaccinated, they are vaccinated. For those who are not, we just ask them to make sure that they do get checked prior to them coming. I actually have a parent orientation on June 24th, where, that is one of the things that I'm going to actually mention, because, safety is key. And I want to make sure that our children are safe with the other kids and the other staff. So, like I said, as far as staff, they have to be vaccinated. But for our families and for our children, they don't have to be. But as long as they do get checked prior to coming to the first day of camp.
Okay. And how much is camp, man? Everybody wants to know. What are we
Yes.
what are we looking at? What's the
Yeah. So
damage,
it's not that much damage. It's only 1,200. Yeah, I'd
Okay.
say it's only 1,200.
1,200 for that whole time period that you just mentioned, which is
Yes.
July 5th to August 19th, you said?
Yes, for 7 weeks, 1,200.
Okay, 7 weeks.
So yes,
$1,200.
yes, $1,200. And if you do have siblings, we do have a sibling discount. So that's $1,050 for the second child, and the first child is 1,200.
And that's from, you said 8 to 5 or 9 to 5?
8 to 5, yes.
From 8 to 5. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. That's Monday through Friday.
Yes, sir.
Man, that's like $26 a day.
Not
That's
bad.
pretty good. I mean, you guys, but how many spots do you have open right now? Because I'm sure at that price point, you may have a lot of people licking their chops to get to you. Not for nothing.
So yes, I'm really, like, right now, I'm getting a lot of enrollment now. I have about maybe 70 kids right now that is registered, and we're open enrollment. So that's the good thing about it. But I do say that our cap is 100. So we have about maybe a good 30 more spots left, give or take. So I say the sooner the better, so you can have your children experience something new.
Now, I got to bring this up because it's a big situation, in American politics right now when it comes to dealing with children and the openness of this sexual orientation situation. I would imagine, what's the stance on the programs, when it comes to dealing with children and that aspect, you know what I'm saying? Making sure there's some kind of equality across the board.
So I really don't tolerate any type of uh, negativity. I say that on anybody. It could be race, it could be gender, it could be anything. And we treat everyone the same and treat everyone fairly. And if a child feels that they are who they are, who they are. I respect and I make sure that my staff respects who these children are, because at the end of the day, it's an individual, it's a person, and you shouldn't be treating anyone differently, no matter what or who they, claim to be or what the case may be. And these are children, these are children. Let them be children, and there's no specific policy, but the way I see it and the way I run things is that we treat everybody the same, and if someone wants to be called whatever they want to be called, excuse me, or they want to be called, it's fine. It's okay. I work with a lot of children that, I had one student where I taught them in 8th grade. They was, they see themselves as a male. And when they got to high school, they consider themselves a female. And I treat them the same. I'm like, oh, hey, how you doing? You look good. Everything is good. So it's not, it's fair game. It's fair game.
Okay. So but it's unfortunate that you have to have these conversations with
right,
people.
Right. And I'm glad that you say that.
At the end of the day, everyone is cognizant on your team of, that these scenarios could, come to fruition. And there is like at least a general conversation going on between your staff in case these things were to come up.
Yes. We just had staff training this week, and that was actually brought up from one of my staff, so and that was it was a conversation that needed to be had, and I think we should actually have more of those conversations, because, at times, as individually, we walk past different people, different people's walks of life and lifestyles. And sometimes we talk about it in our heads, but don't have an opportunity to have that conversation, and especially when you're dealing with children, you need to have that conversation, and because there's certain children that might come to you or gravitate towards you, and you might not be comfortable, you might be comfortable. So sometimes, with dealing with children, you have to be comfortable in an uncomfortable situation, so, so I keep it like that.
All right, cool. Well, I want to talk about dance, baby, because that's one of my favorite things too. I'm Puerto Rican. Salsa was a big part of my life. I did learn at the summer camps that I used to go to, how to dance salsa, because, I was lucky enough to be at a camp such as you're running right now, for a couple of years as a youngster. Now, I want to discuss the training of the people that are training the little kids how to, the children how to dance, man. What's up with that? Like, is that something you look for in people's resumes? Like, how does that come? Or you bring people in? Like, how does that work?
So there's a number of things. I know in the past and even with this year, for those who want to be the dance instructor or the part of the dance camp, what I look for is if they can know how to dance. If they don't know how to dance, I guess you can't, work. But I really look for actually one of the young ladies I'm working with now. She worked with Alvin Ailey. She worked with different dance companies, and she has done African hip hop, modern. She choreographed and stuff like that. So, excuse me, I'm looking for people that have those type of skills. I'm looking for people that can do and can teach. Right. So even with my staff training this week, I had her, teach the other counselors like a 1-2 step, just for me to see, and for also them to understand that they might be the other counselors, but they also have to be amongst the group and actually also teach the young ones. So I'm looking for someone who knows how to dance, have some rhythm, because not everybody got rhythm. So I want to make.
You ain't never lie about that, sir.
Yeah, they don't. So I know in the past I actually had some of the candidates send me videos of them dancing and stuff like that, and like a hip hop dance or a modern dance. There's been times in which we had people that actually was already that dance within our community. And, I just, go up to them and say, hey, you're looking for, a job, in dance, and just teaching. So those are the people that I'm actually looking for, or have found, for the dance program.
Do you get a lot of volunteers?
So I do receive volunteers, and I know in the past I had about a good 5 to 7 volunteers that was a little bit younger than, like the SYEP, younger than, around, like, I say it was like freshmen in high school, and just wanted some experience. I have actually had a family come into the office last week, and she asked, my son would like to volunteer, or he needs something to do during the summertime. I was like, by all means, volunteer. Volunteering is still work, but you're just not getting paid for it, and that's still experience that you can get on your resume. And I am looking for volunteers if there are any young people that would like to volunteer for a summer camp, and just to get some type of experience, because as we all know, there's a lot of jobs out there that say we want all this experience. And how can, young people get all this experience and no one gives them that experience, so
That's YEP, baby.
so that's why I like to give that opportunity to the young people, because I wish that there was someone out there for me to get that experience, so I do have volunteer packets for young people to sign up. It's pretty much like the same process as if they was going to be hired. They also have to get their fingerprints and clearance, because they're also going to be working with children. So I know some parents are not are funny about that, but if you're going to work with children, if you want to make sure that your child is even safe, that the staff that is under me, including volunteers, must be screened.
Yeah, and I'm sure that the program is also insured with all the proper insurances that you need
Yes,
under the
yes.
state
All the permits,
stipulations.
all
Yeah.
of the insurances are up to date. So there's no problem with making sure that we're legal in the system.
Now, my thing, all right, so this volunteer packet, let's say you wanted to take a look at it. Would you be willing, before you go in, is it available online? Or are you willing to send it to someone via email if they were really serious about the situation? Like, how would that work?
So I'm open to it. They could come to the site, or I can email it to them. We
And
can
what's
have
the address?
the address.
Yeah,
Oh, the
that was
email.
where the site
Oh,
is.
177-01 Baisley Boulevard, Jamaica, New York, 11434. So it's right in the park is a recreational center where they could just come in and just ask for Mr. Washington, or they can just ask for Mr. Washington, and then I can provide them with the volunteer application.
Wow, that sounds great. Now, Mr. Washington, man, like, there's a lot going on here. Obviously, you folks probably have other jobs, correct?
Yes.
So it's like, how do you handle the time? How do you budget that time, man? Like, what makes you so adamant about what you do and making time for these children,
It is time. It is definitely has to do a lot with time, and managing, and just focusing on the end result. Like I said earlier, that I'm a 7th grade science teacher, right in the Bronx, and I'm working with kids all the day, every day. And what wakes me up and what pushes me to continue doing the job that I'm doing right now as the director of the summer camp is just the drive and the motivation from these children. A lot of these children I speak to, personally, and they just say, Mr. Wash, I want to do this, I want to do that, I wish I had this. And, they really keep it honest with me. And they just say, I wish I had this opportunity. I wish I had this. And sometimes, I just want to provide an opportunity. It's really just opportunity, and I try to keep, I keep my calendar right next to me all the time to, make sure that I am up to date as best as I can with the schedule, from teaching every day to going here or coming to the office to, do the work of being a director. So it's just really managing time and just finding the purpose, finding my purpose. I feel like my purpose is to give back to the community, specifically for the youth, and as long as I know what's my purpose, that's what's going to drive me and continue to do the work that I'm doing. So of course, it's hard sometimes. It is with any job. It's hard, it might not be hard, it might just be overwhelming, it might be just time consuming, it might just, sometimes you just need a break. All of us need a break. I need a break, but as long as the purpose, and I know my purpose, and I'm continuing to reestablish that purpose and create new meaning to that purpose, and that purpose allows me to, come here, day after day to help these children.
I consider, you folks to be really the true heroes, you know what I mean? The people that are there to help, these young children build these life skills and, hopefully, stop generational trauma from, persisting and things of that nature. And, I really have to commend you folks on that. Like, what is the response from the parents, after the program is over, after the situation is over? Like, how do they feel about it? Like, do people keep coming back? Like, how do they thank you? What's the deal with the parents?
Yeah. So my this there was some feedback. So the feedback that I get from my parents is the thank yous. It's the coming back. Majority of, actually half of the children that I have now are returners, from last year. And to see them come back to the camp is like, wow, we did something. We did something good, for the children to say, hey, mom, hey, dad, I want to go back to camp this year. I had a young lady. She was with us about 2-3 years ago, and she's coming back, and to hear the mom on the phone saying, hey, Mr. Wash, we was here a couple years ago, and my daughter wants to come back. And I was like, wow, come on back. It's good to have you. It's good to see you, and just really from the children, the best feedbacks from the children, and I actually have interviews with the children, when they're in their classrooms or whatever the case may be. I actually go to them, hey, how do you like camp today? What would you like to see different? What would you want to do different next year or the next day or the next day? And the best feedback is from the children, so and I get a lot of good feedback, and a lot of things that we could definitely add on, because we're always innovating and always continuing to do better, so it's great, and what I get to answer that question is, the families come back, the children are happy. They're coming here every day, and some of them give me those those gifts at the end of the camp, like a little thank you, and just to see that it's great, it's warm and it's welcoming.
Oh man, that's fantastic. That must be like, just really worthwhile. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because people, I feel like people focus too much on things that aren't important. These are the things really that are important, man. Building things from the ground up. The human, the children experience is really like the biggest resource that we can really build. And the
Yes.
fact that you're providing this platform for these children, and and you're also getting great engagement because you're doing research while you're there.
Hmm.
So, I mean, that's great that you're engaging in that way as well, because like you said, it just helps to bring and bring the place to a higher level and make the place the best that you can make it. So, I mean, that's really great to hear, man. Any issues, man? What's the craziest issue you ever had at the camp, or have you had any crazy issues because you run it so well?
It's no issues, actually. I'm not gonna say no issues, but it's just
Yeah.
the I guess the normal children bickering, and oh, you took this. I want to play with this ball. I want to play with this ball. It's nothing really outrageous that I
Okay.
ever actually came across. Thank God. But I haven't really heard of anything. The only thing that I can think of was, we heard that one of our staff, had COVID last year. And that was probably the craziest thing. But and in that case, I definitely notified the parents on the day of, sent letters, and then also emailed all the parents, letting them know that we had a case, and in order for them to come back, they have to show a negative test result in order for them to come back, so we can resume our day-to-day activities. And the staff had to also get tested, and the one that actually did get tested, had the case, had to make sure they stayed home. So that was maybe the only thing that was, out of the norm. Yeah, nothing crazy at all.
Okay. And I'm sure you keep, because parents worry about their kids' safety. And let's say that a child comes up to you, they had an issue, you contact the parents right away. I would imagine you sit parents down and things of that nature.
Yes, of course. So I have I say a strict policy with children when it comes down to, of course, safety and of course bickering and certain things that happen when they interact with one another. So they come into my office, I definitely speak to them. I give them that look of, seriousness, and just making sure that, of course, I hear the stories and make sure that everything is right. And I have the staff and also the children write an incident report to make sure that, we also do have this on file. And then I will contact the parents to let them know that an incident has occurred.
Oh, man, that's great to hear. That's great to hear, man. I'm sure every parent wants to hear that. And Mr. Washington, thank you for all that knowledge. And now we've reached a point in the podcast where it's time to play 5 Words with Angel. All right, on 5 Words with Angel, I'm going to give you a word, phrase, or a question. You're going to give me the first word or, the first thought that comes to your head. Are you ready?
Okay.
All right, the first word on 5 Words with Angel. Well, there's going to be a question. What is your favorite engaging activity at SQPA?
What's my favorite engaging thing to do?
What's the activity you like to engage in the most? Let me rephrase that. Sorry, that question was a little convoluted there.
You said only one word?
No, it could be one word. It could be a thought. Yeah, go for it.
Oh, okay. Just having fun, get out of this office. Get out of this office and actually enjoying camp with them. Playing the games. I like doing that.
All right. The second word is, I'm gonna go with dancing. What do you think about when you think about dancing?
Rhythm.
All right.
Rhythm and rhythm.
Okay, the third word on 5 Words with Angel. What do you think about when you think about children?
Joy.
Nice.
Yeah.
The fourth word on 5 Words with Angel is, what do you think about when you think about parents?
That's a good one. I say stress less. Yeah, stress less.
Nice, I like that. Sometimes it's hard, but I get you. I get where you're going with that. All right, and the fifth and final word on 5 Words with Angel is, what do you think about when you think about the Southern Queens Park Association?
Growth.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, could you give a message out there to anyone before we wrap up, Mr. Washington, on what you do and why you think it's important? And if anyone, because if anyone is hearing this and wants to do what you do because they find like that could be a good calling for them, what would you tell them?
If you're going to come into this position of being a director or just working with children, you have to love kids. You have to love kids and understand that you're molding them and teaching them and creating culture and creating memories, with them. And if you don't have that joy and that passion for children, the work is never going to be done. As long as you go back to that passion, that love for children and the work with the end result, when you work hard and you are passionate for something that you love to do, the end result is going to be so much greater and so much important to you. That's my message.
Now, Mr. Washington, where can we find, the Southern Queens Park Association? Any website, any, social media? Like, how can we get to you cats?
Yes, so you can see us or visit us on SQPA.org. And for our Instagram, you can go to SQPA_sports and dance camp.
All right, there you have it, everyone. That was Rashaad Washington from the director of dance and sports at the SQPA. Don't forget to click on that notification bell on YouTube, subscribe, share with everyone. We're also on all podcast platforms and Spotify. You could also view us there as well. The podcast was sponsored by OTW Threads and AttitudeOn10.com. You can find all the exclusive materials and all the exclusive content and merchandise at AOWENT.com. And if you want to follow us on social media, it's at Angel of Words, ENT. Thank you for tuning in, everyone, and we'll talk to you later.